want you to imagine maybe a Jew living somewhere in a little shtetl in Poland or out in the outback of Lithuania, and he reads Rashi of this Parashat Vayigash. Vayigash elav Yehuda. Yehuda went with all his might, with all his conviction, to speak to Joseph, apparently the Egyptian king. And Rashi says that he said to him, "You are like Pharaoh for me. I'm not afraid of you. Ki kamocha ke Pharaoh. If you cause me too many problems, too much trouble, I'll kill you and Pharaoh." And we think of the little Jew sitting somewhere in the darkness of the galus, where he can never actually really tell the goy what he really feels. He can't ever express his true feelings. And how that he reads this Rashi and gets, finally there was one Jew by the name of Yehuda that went to the Goyish king and told him actually what he really thought. The truth is that even in this, the first pasuk of the Parashat, the Rashi explains, Yedaberna avdecha davar b'nei Adoni, and then in the next pasuk, Adoni sha'al et avadav, you asked your servants, v'nomer Adoni, we told our master, and you said to your servants, meaning us, and so on. It doesn't actually fit with the words of the psukim. But Rashi is Rashi, and he comes and tells us, yes, that even though that we have to say your master and your servant, but inside Yehuda was full of conviction. Even if he said it to him, it didn't actually say it to him, but full of conviction and the strength that he had inside. And as a Jew of the Galut, that sitting in the Galut, and did you really want to say what your true Torah is, what your true feelings are? This was something that could never ever have been done for so many years. Until we come now back to Eretz Israel, where I think that the whole idea of what we're supposed to be doing here is maybe a bit different than all the previous years. Rabbi Yaakov Friedman, the Admor of Husiatin, was a Hasidish Admor, but full of love of the state of Israel, of Zionism, and of Eretz Israel. And he takes the example of Am Yisrael going down to the Galut. Yes, this bravery of Yehuda precedes the sad, tragic story of Am Yisrael going to the Galut. And he takes the going down to the Galut as a parable to the work of a tzaddik. The tzaddik in our generation, he is supposed to leave the Beis Midrash, leave the synagogue, and go out and collect neshomas of Jews that are all around and bring them closer. And going down to Egypt was Likut Nitzotzot of the world, was collecting the sparks of light of that need to bring, maybe elevating the whole world. And he says this is the work of the tzaddik. And the work of the tzaddik is actually to eventually leave the Beis Midrash and go around and start collecting all those sparks of Kedusha, of Neshomas, of Jewish Neshomas around the world. And that is our tafkid, to go out to the Galut, physical galut, spiritual galut, but not the Beis Midrash, not only to be in the area of the Beis Midrash, and start collecting the shamot of Jews all over as much as possible. And he tells a story of Rav Shalom Miprovich. He used to every Shabbat and every Yom Tov, used to go say Good Shabbos to his father-in-law, Reb Nochem Chernobyl. And on the first day of Rosh Hashanah, he tried to daven, and he couldn't daven well. So he said, anyway, I'm not davening, so why am I sitting in the Mizrach? I'm going to sit at the back of the shul. And he went to the back of the shul, and he davened at the back of the shul. The second day, he davened well, so he stayed in the Mizrach. After davening, when he went to Reb Nochem Chernobyl to say to him, Shana Tova, Good Yor, Reb Nochem said to him, who today is going to elevate the neshomis that are at the back of the Beis Midrash? Meaning, a tzaddik, there are times when he needs to go down from his pedestal, from his high elevation of kedusha, in order to collect neshamot all around. And that is basically the idea of Egypt, but now with a different relationship between us and the non-Jews. It doesn't have to be that I'm in a situation that I have to tell the non-Jew what I really think. I can tell the non-Jew what I really think in a positive way, but to elevate him, to show the shining of the Torah. And I think that Medinat Israel, that's its main purpose in the world, to be an Or Lagoim. Halavai will be Zoiche with our politics, with our economy, with our society, with our chesed. That's why we are here. We were in the Golus, connected to all the nations of the world, and now to be somehow a light unto the nation, to elevate them, just like the tzaddik, his purpose in the world is to elevate the neshamot. The tafkid of Medinat Yisrael will be to elevate the world. This parasha will be going down to the Galus. Please God, we've been zoich in our generation to come back to Eretz Yisrael, where we also fulfill our destiny in the world to be a light unto the nations. Shabbat Shalom.